Great pal, Dan Joseph, the China Learning Curve best-selling author. Dan, they obviously knew we would get these satellite images and start talking about them, and, mission accomplished. So we're talking about them. Should we worry about them?
Well, I think increasingly the chances of some sort of conflict, like with China, are unquestionably growing if you compare it to 5 or 10 years ago. Right now, China is turning away from the economic reform and liberalization that caused it to grow in the first place. As it does that, the government is placing more emphasis on appealing to the country's nationalistic sentiment. And that doesn't bode well for the potential of tensions. Obviously, we know what's going on with the flyovers near Taiwan, the South China Sea. War is not imminent. There's no doubt China wants a state-of-the-art military, but the direction they're going in as a country, less emphasis on growth, in my opinion, turns into more emphasis on nationalism, and it makes it a riskier bet that we'll end up in some sort of conflict.
You know what I always worry about too, Dan, that something that could go amiss here, or someone makes a mistake, or a Chinese plane that flies over Taiwan and gets shot down, or anything and everything that could possibly go wrong that has in the past and triggered wars in the past. And I'm just wondering, the more provocative their behavior and the more we hear of incidents like this, you have to wonder about that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when a couple of weeks ago, when they did 150 sorties over 3 days, you're thinking to yourself, what are the chances of an error in there? Now we're doing more freedom of navigation naval ventures, not just by us, but Germany's participating, the UK. So the more kind of activity we have like this, the greater the chances for there to be a problem. That's why it would be nice if we just pulled back on the tensions. But China continues want to demonstrate that it's serious about these objectives. So I don't see it getting easier anytime soon. We just have to continue to build alliances and prepare ourselves for what might come down the road. And hopefully we have back channels open so that we're discussing things should any of these, what you call it, an accident that could lead to war occur.
You know what I worry about as well, Dan, when I see China risking damage to its financial self, going after its most successful companies and where they list and whether they're getting approval by, the mothership of the government. And they're willing to risk serious market and financial disruptions doing so with this greater military goal. They used to treasure that capitalist fallback, and now will risk great harms to themselves financially. That's a bit different than the past.
Yes, you hit the nail on the head, Neil. That's absolutely the issue. A lot of times the sentiment on China seems to indicate that we didn't get anything out of their growth. That's not true. It's been very positive. China became an easier nation to deal with for many, many years. And believe it or not, global economic engagement helped them play by the rules. The problem is they started turning the direction about 10 years ago, and now they seem, like you said, committed to not playing by those rules. That wasn't true 10 years ago. The further they get away from actively seeking to be engaged and relying on economic growth, as I said, the more likely nationalism is what they lean on to get the support of the people, and that could lead to trouble in the South China Sea and Taiwan, etc. The irony is a stagnant China is probably more dangerous than a growing China.
And they don't seem to care whether this behavior rattles some countries into thinking, we're not going to go to your stupid Olympics. They just keep marching on. No pun intended. What do you think of that?
No, I mean, look at the Japanese election that just occurred, where the LDP won by a greater margin than anyone thought, given what happened with COVID over there. One of the major planks of their election strategy was a stronger response to China, increased defense spending, increased preparedness. Their candidate actually said if there was an attack on Taiwan, Japanese islands would probably be next. We see this throughout the region. There's kind of an arms race being started. If China were really taking the temperature of what's going on, they're actually making it easier for the United States to build alliances. Look, Australia, nobody has a greater economic stake in China than Australia, but China has pushed Australia, forced them to push back with these economic boycotts. They won't tolerate any dissent. So China's making it harder for itself. I'm not sure it realizes.
All right, Dan, thank you.